So, how many of you have been to your local Radio Shack recently? They're all going out of business, right? Well, I went strolling into ours close to me and found that this was on sale for $80, $130. Now, could I ask how many of you, so you may give the microphone there?
Oh, sure.
Or you
You have to really put it in your phone. You have to swallow it.
So how many of you actually have Raspberry Pis?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so there's quite a group here that's doing this. So those of you, maybe speaking to a smaller group than I thought, some of the things that I don't know if you've discovered with yours yet, if you've gotten really into it, let's see if I can get a picture of the thing here so you can at least see what it is. But I've got one in here right now that is it's in the case, and I've got a LCD hooked up to it. But the other thing is, are you aware that you can get the Arduino IDE, and that the Arduino IDE can feed an Arduino card through the USB port, and you can program the Arduino, because these things don't handle, like I told, servos very well. So you can handle lots of servos out there with the Arduino cards. That's one of the things I've done. So the other thing that, for those of you who may or may not have gotten interested in this particular card has 3 video ports. It has would you believe, an old VGA yellow video port. Looks like you're programming an Atari when you're on this thing. The resolution is not very good. But it also has an HDMI, you can use that, or with a $9 cable, you can use a VGA terminal. The neat thing about it, this thing runs Linux, okay, and it's a pretty good version on the thing. I've been absolutely amazed at how much stuff that you can get from the GitHub, load down on this thing, and just do some amazing things. You have a Python interpreter on it. There's a C compiler. You can do all kinds of things. So my plan is to take this thing, and you're welcome to come around later and take a look at it. And what I want to do is build up a Pi unit and use one or more Arduino cards to drive some of the other things just because I can, and see what kind of robot I can come up with. I think this will be a pretty nifty project. And it says in the web stuff that you can run ROS on this. So since you guys have gotten me into ROS.
Alan, you say you need a Raspberry Pi 2.
You need a Pi 2.
Well, but that's, Pi 2 could cost you what, $35? And I can replace this thing, and so this is a good learning tool. So I don't imagine they have any of these left at Radio Shack. But the other one, are you aware that there's a thing, I don't know, they pronounce it putty or putty, that you can put on your PC, and around through the internet, you can put up a terminal window, and you can get to the Linux operating system through either another Linux computer that's coming around through the Wi-Fi connection, and you can actually go in and do whatever you can do from a terminal window. So I'm finding this thing is just no end of stuff that you can do with it. It took me probably longer to wire up the card than it took me to get to the card, the LCD card here, to actually printing out characters. It's just amazing how much stuff is available out there. So anyway, we maybe get some of the Pi people together. I'd like to learn some more things that you're doing with yours, and maybe get some tips. So.
Thank you very much.
Cam, come on up.
Hold your phone. This should scare the hell out of some of you. This is Walt Perko's own Billy Bot, live in person. So Walt's not a club member, right?
I don't believe he's a club member anymore.
He's not a club member. He's a notorious spammer. But regardless, so this is the infamous Billy Bot, and he's on his world tour, and so I'm bringing him to the Homebrew Club. He basically just turns around and moves his arms and blinks his lights. He's 3D printed, and Walt has all the code on the web, download free, open source. This one's basically, I think he uses pickaxes, and he does RoboTunes, right? And RoboTunes, well, The problem with RoboTunes is they aren't funny. Okay? And so somebody please send him some money so that he can hire some decent writers and maybe have a go of it. I mean, he's got a whole fleet of little robot characters, and it's pretty cool. And he's got all the stuff online, open source, so you can download and print your own Billy Bot or so forth. Let me get a picture here.
So did you print this on camp, or where's it?
Oh, negative. This is the original Billy Bot on world tour. Besides Silicon Valley, he's been to Minnesota. Okay, so I've gotten some pictures of him around. I want to get a picture of him in front of the Google building, and then he'll be off to somewhere else. You can follow him on Facebook if you'd like. And so this is the Billy Bot by Walt Perko. Thank you very much.
It's running? Okay, we'll go with Mark then.
Okay, so I'm going to show something that I brought in its prototype phase earlier, but now it's pretty much functional. This is FiddlerBot. It's a full-blown ROS system that's now has a webcam and a
What's its name, Mark?
FiddlerBot.
Is that the Fiddler Bot?
Now the reason it's called FiddlerBot is because it has a fiddler claw. I need to make another claw on the other side that's a tiny, wimpy one. Then the image will be complete. Anyway, this guy has a pan camera here, and if there's any luck in the world at all, I'll be able to show you guys it remote control interface here. And I fire it up with a separate terminal, and I have, if it starts moving, please tell me. All right, so what we have here is a little gizmo, which was originally color-coded so that I could find it with a different system that I had a lot of grief with. I'm sorry this is so small. There is an HDMI. If we have any luck in the world, it may possibly work by plugging it into here, and that would make this a lot nicer.
We can give it a try.
And there it is on the ground, by the way.
Yeah.
I found it a little earlier, and it's this one. And
Give it a shot.
we're going to give it a try. I've got this adapter. Unplug this guy. And so this has a ROS system on it. It has ability to recognize AR tags. It talks to a JavaScript file that talks to ROS Bridge. ROS Bridge is an interface that allows you to talk to ROS message queues or topics or whatever you want to call them. I don't know why they call them topics, but you can talk to them. And what I'm doing here is I have a little RF controller over there that I've shown before in the past. This will work with that. One of the boards on my custom thing is that. But it also does pan. It also does pan and so forth with the web controls. So if I go one way or the other way, I can go towards the thing. That's not actually very exciting because it's dead centered right now. All right, so if I pan over towards it here, this is kind of just a simple remote interface. But so now I see it over there, so I'm going to rotate this way and then stop. Let's see, oh, because I needed to be panned over farther this way. I need to set up the camera so that I see the bottom of the claw nicely. And so now I can see the claw, and the claw is straight ahead always. So if I go forward, this interface I thought would look nicer here, but there, I guess we can see it now, I don't know. It's okay. All right, so now we go a little bit forward, and we've captured it. And so meanwhile, I want to show you that I can monitor various topics that I'm currently kind of having separate. But on the right-hand side of the display, you can see that my bot state is stop. And I'm going to grab the thing with the arm, and I'm going to raise the arm. And then I'm going to rotate around like so, and then we can stop, and we can move forward, and rotate towards you guys. Stop it. All the time you see it's in the camera's eye there, and the bot state updates temperature. I had to solder 6 wires to a 2mm by 3mm chip. That was a pain. But I did it.
3mm?
2mm, 3mm. The thing's got.
It's like this.
Oh, come on. So,
Does it all?
so this thing has slew ability, but because it doesn't, anyway, it dropped it heavily, but I know why. So that's the important part. Lastly, we shall step away from the container. Oh, sorry, stop.
Arm ungrab.
Yeah, I had to ungrab. That's an important thing that you need to do. And we can rotate and stop, or rotate the other way, which is a better idea. And move forward, etc. So that's what he does. There's a lot more to him. He's got a lot of sensors. He's got an LCD display. He's got a couple batteries, because you don't want to run the batteries for the servo on the main controller, because it's a problem. So he's got a nice little servo controller, multi-channel. He's doing the pan tilt, all that kind of stuff. Any questions?
So what?
Steve OK is working on a radio compass so we can return to base, and we're making progress on all things. I mean, there's safety concerns. We have to have a power e-stop. The robot can't go faster than a person, so if it runs away, someone can stop it. This guy right now could definitely run faster than a person. So.
He's not armed, though.
Well, the thing is, hopefully it does have a dead man switch, so
Oh, dear.
if I turn it off, it should not run away. But we'll also have a radio pause switch to basically disconnect the motors, but keep the CPUs running. By regulation, they have a kill switch, which kills all power to all systems, which seems kind of bizarre to me. You just want to kill power
You need
to
a big red
motors.
key that says panic.
Yeah. Thanks, so yeah, I guess it makes for safety sense.
Yes.
And it has to climb up onto a shallow platform and return to it. So it's pretty cool. So we have other members of the team here who may wish to talk. We have our actual sample return mechanism where we have Paul and Gertz working on that. We want to come up on that. And so I'll move the base out of the way.
Leave the base so they can put it on top of it.
Okay.
So they can see it.
Well, all right, but I will turn them off.
They can't run away.
Any questions about the base?
Thanks, Cam.
Actually, can we put the base on the
You
table?
want to put the base on the table? It'll be easier to see.
Yeah.
Here, I got that box. Box.
Or a little tighter at times. While they're doing their quick little setup, who else has robots to show tonight? Very funny, Melanie. There's one back there. Okay, you'll be the next one. Okay.
Okay, so this contraption goes onto that base. And Paul and the gripper team has constructed this hardware, and I added some.
Close the door, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, basically have to put a small one.
Talk louder, Dirk.
Actually, let's see if it's this one. No, it's that one. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, so yeah, basically the control of this thing currently works on dynamics on servos. So I added some BeagleBone black and ROS and joystick control so that we can see if this actually can move.
Apple and
This is my robot.
And This is pegboard, laser cut plywood. You see I went a little overboard on the sensors. We're trying to see whether or not
That's home brewed, man.
it's unbrewed. The thing is, the sonars, when I first started, they cost, we had to buy repurposed Polaroid sensors. Polaroid's gone, for $70, okay? And then the SR04 from Jerry Coe came out from Devontae. That was only $35. That was half the price. And then the Parallax Ping came out for $25. The way I buy these things now is I go onto eBay and I buy them in lots of $25. One of the lots cost $1.05 each. I'm not saying these are the greatest sonars in the world, they're not, but they're cheap, and basically what I'm trying to do is come up with something that's good enough to do obstacle avoidance. That's really my only goal in life here. If I could get a cheap LiDAR from Nito or something like that, I would do so.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'd much rather use a LiDAR, but given that you don't have that. So the other thing that's going on here is I have a board here that I can plug in any processor that conforms to the de facto standard 40-pin connector from Raspberry Pi Foundation. So I have here a Raspberry Pi 2. I do have it up and running Ubuntu 14.04.
This is the ROS-bot, right?
This is a ROS-bot. It's called
The
McGarrett.
ROS-bot, right?
Not the ROS-bot, it is a ROS-bot. Okay. I call this platform McGarrett. The other board,
How do you spell that?
M-E, look it up.
Megara?
McGarrett.
I'll guess.
Yeah, it's how you would think. The other board I have here is something called the Banana Pro, and it is kind of, we call them fruit pies. You know, some people are trying to live off of the Raspberry Pi ecosystem. Anyhow, it's actually the one I got running first, and then like right around the time I got this running, the Raspberry Pi 2 came out, so we scrambled, got our Raspberry Pi 2 and brought that up as well. So it works with either one. And this is running ROS. The firmware is not done yet, so I can't actually show it running, but I just thought people might find it visually interesting, even though it's not moving. And there is going to be more than one. I'm planning on having around at least 5, maybe even 10 of these things built. Because there's a lot of people who need a inexpensive ROS platform, and they don't have a turtle lot. Okay, so that's kind of it. So what happens next is we take a 5-minute break and let our speakers do any setup they need to do. And then after the 5 minutes, we get going. And if anybody has to take their small children home because it's past their bedtime, now is the time to make that escape. It's perfectly okay, we understand. Okay, so 5-minute break, and then we get going again.